Welcome back, everybody, to our final game of Playday number 4 here in Project Eris. My name is still Santos, and to my right, still your right, it's going to be V, who has something very important to show you.
Okay, so we obviously know I had trouble getting my microphone. I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna grab my camera and I'm literally going to show you why. Okay, so my cable management is very bad. This is gonna be you're going on a roller coaster, Chad. You're going on a roller coaster. So all right, we've got a cord, a cord,
Goodness
a
gracious.
cord. I literally had to throw this on the ground because I had to grab a microphone. We've got cords. We've got cords. You guys like cords, chat? Do
V,
you like
I'm
cords?
I'm physically angry at you. I didn't know it was that
Do you
bad.
like good cable management? You came to the wrong place.
I mean, maybe on a different play day, I'll show you guys my cable management because I am not a model citizen in that regard in the slightest. But enough about our messy setups. You don't want to look at my background if you have any sort of OCD whatsoever, because that is probably as well. We have a match in front of us, and it's between the Wichita Wolves and Talentless Esports. And, well, Wichita, they're on a bit of a hot streak, couldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's looking at over at Talentless. We can kind of throw it over the rosters as we talk about these two teams. You mentioned Wichita and how they have really been on a hot streak. You know, they did get picked up by Wichita Wolves, the official esports team of Wichita. I always have to mention that when I bring it up. But I think that has given them confidence. Definitely, overall, getting picked up by an organization like Wichita Wolves does a lot for a team's, I guess, ego. That you feel better as a team, and it's showing in their gameplay. It's showing as they're going through these matches, and I think Talentless, they're going to have to do a lot to not be the next meal on Wichita Wolves' plate.
Yeah, and if we throw it on over to the rosters, we're going to see exactly who we're going to be looking at. Both of these teams, well, they have some recognizable names, but maybe none more than Wichita Wolves. I've been casting them. Granted, I've been casting their men's team since SCS Season 3, and I know how good of an organization Wichita Wolves can be. We're getting Lock Tiger, we're getting Kaz, who goes absolutely insane in the Frog Hat. We also got Ali Princess. Frog Hat is absolutely insane, dude. Like, it is the best. I think that's the key to her winning these gunfights, just being a frog on the map. Ali Princess, Bagel as well, and Bree to round things off. Meanwhile, for Talentless, they have no shortage of talent as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dawn. I'm looking at Jane Knight. Those are some of my favorite players on Talentless. And for me, Talentless is at the beginning of the season, I looked at them and I saw a team that I actually thought was going to contend for the top tier. I thought, looking at their first match, I kind of predicted them. I don't think I predicted them this week because of how strong Wichita is, but they're a team that I kind of am rooting for in my heart, that I know that they have the ability and the skill to kind of start winning these matches, but they haven't really found exact success in these, past weeks when it comes to matches. So like I said, they're going to have to do a lot to make this, their turnaround week, because this is possibly one of the worst opponents you could face if you wanted to turn a cold streak around.
They had to play a match earlier today up against Valkyries, and, well, unfortunately, that didn't really turn out very well either. So, well, what better time to bounce back and what better time to make a statement than up against one of the strongest rosters that we're seeing inside of Eris right now. But in order to play the match out, we also have to put a map on the board. We have to find out where we're going to be doing this sort of battle between these two teams. Talentless certainly aren't, so they don't follow that sort of namesake. I know that they have a bunch of potential between them. It just hasn't really clicked yet.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and the hope is that we can kind of get these map holes on up. We can see whether we're going back over to Borgen for the second time in a row. No, we're not.
Thank you.
Straight off the board, it's gone. So is Cafe, Chalet, and Bank. It's going off the board. No Bank here fourth, and it's Coastline and Villas. We're going on over to Clubhouse, and I do like to see that, because we're going to see Wichita Wolves on this and Talentless, so it's a little bit of the possibly inexperienced versus experience, depending on what teams want to go here, depending on how much they've practiced on this map, because it used to be, oh, we've always got or Clubhouse in our back pocket that we can pull out whenever we need to. But with the resurgence of maps like Villa, Chalet, Oregon, we've seen Clubhouse just kind of fall to the wayside in terms of consistency in practice maps.
Yeah, and I think Clubhouse, it's one of those maps that, all of the strategy has sort of been fleshed out. But with all of the recent changes, it's kind of like becoming Oregon's cuter cousin in a sense that we know all of the strategies that most of the teams are going to bring, but we still love to see it. Clubhouse, I think it's definitely back to being one of the more interesting maps that we have in our map pool. And all of the minute changes made the map so much better, I have to say, V. It flows so much better, even with, just very, very small changes. But overall, I mean, the map is just a lot more fun right now. And I think that both of these teams are going to share in that sentiment.
Yeah, I have not had the ability to really look at or it's not bar stock anymore. What is
Bar,
it? Bar. Yeah, bar stage,
stage.
whatever. I have not had the ability to really look at it both in a casual setting or a competitive setting. But I don't know if we're at the point where teams are going to start running that site, if it even is competitively viable at all. So the hope is that we might get a little tease of it tonight, but I'm not going to count on it.
I'm not going to count on it unless, like, maybe, Wichita Wolves have something up their sleeve or something like that. Maybe Talentless do as
I
well.
would expect it for Wichita Wolves.
Maybe they've shown some very interesting things, but something that we have to highlight as well is we have a head-to-head matchup that you're going to have to watch out for throughout the course of this game. And I believe it's going to be between Kaz and Midlight. Kaz, I've said it a million times on Twitter, Light Rose. She's up there for Project Eris MVP. She's going nuclear for the side of the Wolves.
I mean, literally, look at the rating, the KD. KD 35 and 13, the entry 7-2. The fact that the percentage is so high, you can count on her to really win these entry frags. And the KOST shows that she is having an impact almost every single round. And it kind of feels unfair to show that next to Midlight, because Midlight is not doing too bad herself. I mean, with the KOSD, she is having an impact on more than 50% of these rounds, but the survival percentage, 5% compared to 52% on the side of Cass. And granted, I think a lot of this could be down to, Wichita Wolves. They're winning a lot more rounds Midlight and Talentless. They aren't winning a lot of these rounds, a lot of these maps. So it's kind of in terms of overall team win percentage and statistics instead of individual performances. But you can kind of get a look at these and it immediately pops out to you and shows, I think, the difference between these two teams.
V, I got to tell you, looking at a 5.26 survival, that's tough. I've got to I don't want to draw too much attention on that because I know she is a much better player than that shows, but that is very, very difficult to look at. And I've got to say, this is the perfect time, like I've been saying all night for pretty much every single one of the other teams. This is the perfect time for Talentless to try and get the ball rolling. But they've been dealt such a difficult schedule to start off the season. I think they played like Google Dolls in the past, and now they're up against the Wichita Wolves. That is not an easy task.
Yeah, there's these titans of Project Eris that if you're unfortunate, you can just have a schedule that is just back to back to back, and 3-4 weeks, it feels like you were just not making any singular progress at all, and that can be debilitating towards a team. But I think, as I mentioned before, I see something in Talentless. Maybe I'm just stupid and bad at Rainbow Six, but I see something shiny in Talentless that I think can, if really practiced and improved, could be something special.
V, you're absolutely insane. I will not have you have this self slander anymore. You are an absolutely insane player. I don't know what you're talking about.
Player, I got like silver 2, gold 2. I don't think we shouldn't be talking about how good of a player I am.
So, are you saying that you're not qualified to cast the game?
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
I've got a .9 KD. I did not qualify for caster school because of my low KD. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm carrying a point 0.7 on the season right now. I'm not having a good time at all. My stacks just kind of carry me, but I mean, I'm still close to plat. I'm sitting at gold 1, so maybe I get a little credit thrown my way. I don't know.
I mean,
I,
I don't want to bash you, but plat is not
is
a
meaningless.
plat is kind of meaningless because there's so many people in it that it's kind of just platinum is kind of the new gold, new silver at this point because and that sounds kind of weird, but because there's so many people at a quote unquote high rank that it doesn't become a high rank anymore. It just kind of
Yeah.
becomes, that average rank.
I mean, that's the most interesting thing with the elo shift, right? Where Diamond 3 is now a thing. Like, why is there different levels of Diamond now? I thought Diamond was just supposed to be the apex of the art forms in terms of Siege. But then again, I hear, a bunch of competitive players at all tiers saying, hey, why are you in plat? You'd have no idea about this game at all. I like to think that I know the game a tiny bit, but I think that shows a lot better inside of my casting rather than my playing, and we're gonna demonstrate that right now. Me and you, Light Rose, we're here together. We're on to Clubhouse, and let's hop into our band phase.
I don't know if we're going to see a spicy bans like we saw in the last match. Clubhouse usually you might see the very, very typical for bans in Maverick. That is one of those very, very typical bans. He's very important on that basement site, very important on the CCTV wall. So getting him off the board is going to be something that is definitely important. And am I crazy, or did we just see Maverick a shift and then back to Maverick? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not crazy then, but
are you not insane in the membrane?
I'm not insane in the membrane. But we need to show Eric Thorne twice. He's that important. He's that amazing of a character. And Thatcher, no, we only get to see him once. He's constantly off the board. He did get a little playtime last match, but Clubhouse, it's still a map that needs a lot of wall denial, like Kaid, who's going to be off the board. So it's going to be either that Mute or Bandit, who might be really in charge of just denying these walls.
That opens up a lot of the hatch play on the basement side as well. So overall, I think that Cade ban is crucial to what Talentless are going to be trying to pull off on this defensive side. They're really going to be limited to playing the gym and bedroom site, or they're going to be limited to playing CCTV. It's so much harder to hold that bottom floor bomb site. Yes, it is possible if you establish a solid roam game, but overall, I think that Cade just makes that basement that much more difficult. Valkyrie, overall, I mean, you have a lot of information to play off of, and you know how aggressive or how passive even Wichita Wolves can play off of that information. They are very smart players, and we've seen that throughout the course of the season. Banning Valkyrie takes away some of that information that they're going to be able to play off of. Unfortunately, they're not going to see dividends on that just yet, as Wichita are on their attacking side. And overall, nothing too out of the ordinary. We're seeing a too hard breach approach as Talentless are going to be heading down to the basement.
And interesting to me is the Bandit. I think the main goal of the Bandit is just to deny dirt. So they're going to have, possibly an extra Bandit battery. But usually dirt might just be, all right, you want to take dirt? Come on in. Try your hardest. Because a lot of times you might have a smoke playing in there, a Jaeger, somebody behind a deployable shield armed with ADSs or something. And it makes pushing through that very, very small dirt tunnel so difficult. But now that you have added on a Bandit, I think they're going to have to adapt. Wichita Wolves are going to have to either possibly go through blue or just straight go through church, possibly go through a kitchen hatch. But if they're relying on the ability to get into dirt, this could be a little dicey for them.
Yeah, and you can see all of the utility, most of the utility being placed pretty much, it's a little bit spread out, right? But you see the investment into blue behind the generator. Notably, we haven't seen the Bandit batteries being established just yet, and it seems like J Night Owl is going to invest those onto the bottom of main and then tilt those over to dirt. So What I'm going to be looking for inside of this round is where Wichita are going to initiate their attack and whether or not they rotate over, whether or not they keep Talentless's head on a swivel, right? If you get stagnant, then, Talentless can just train their guns over to your way and they're going to take you down bit by bit. But Wichita, they've shown how dynamic they can be. And with the stock hatch getting opened up as well, that makes Generator even more dangerous to play behind.
Cass already opening them up. I think if it could have been a little quicker, they could have caught somebody on the side of Talentless, just a little bit off the guard, but it's going to be Locked Tiger who ends up on the floor first. J9 Alley, you can see all the way in dirt. It's possibly they were trying to find one through that dirt hatch. Yep, you can kind of see it's opened on up, and suddenly it's an IQ dead on the floor. You do have everybody else on Talentless just holding back inside. One person on the roam all the way on the second floor, just trying to get a little bit of an angle on any other attacker of Wichita Wolves, but they do know that somebody is on the prowl, and it's Cass trying to find the shot, but they're not going to win that one out, and they are going to be the second one down midlight now. I guess they got a little angry. They did find the one on Cass, but they are going to lose the one on Alley Princess.
Where is the teamwork from Wichita Wolves right now? We're seeing a bunch of one-on-one gunfights, and yes, Ali was able to win that out, but so much damage, so much manpower already lost. You've lost your IQ and your Ayana. Yes, maybe the kill onto the IQ isn't that impactful because she isn't bringing that much in terms of utility, but the kill onto Cass certainly is. She is an absolutely integral member of Wichita, and her going down early, you have to depend on Bagel, Bree, and Ali, who are three amazing players in their own right, but overall, Talentless are winning these early engagements, and if they keep this trend going every single round, I'm not sure if Wichita are going to be able to match that up. They're forcing good 1v1s up here.
It does feel like a lot of individual plays. Actually, there is going to be the trade out, but it is definitely Talentless that comes out on top. Because even though there isn't a roamer alive anymore, you are still forcing them in a 2v3 situation. They can't really attack the bomb site straight on. And they're just kind of forced with, I believe, 2 drones in the pocket of Bagel. They do have 2 flashes, and one just going to bounce straight on back. 1 flash now. Unfortunately, it's, that crosshair can be deceiving sometimes. But 20 seconds left. They're going to still have to trudge through barbed wire and a smoke canister that just went off. A C4 in the pocket of J9 Owl as well. So there's going to have to be a whole hurrah of an attack here, but you can see the smoke canister right in front of the Surya gate. It cannot get any worse. A shotgun, 1, 2 pumps. And Talentless taking the first round over Wichita Wolves could be something in the making here.
I think so, and the early stages of that round really spelt the whole story, right? Talentless were able to force out 2 picks because Wichita were sending single-person clears onto that top floor. And yes, you want to be able to isolate those roamers, but maybe you want to just establish a flank watch or something like that. Force them to stay up there, and if they want to make a play, then they have to push their way down where you have a barrel trained on it. But overall, Wichita, this is something that I wasn't expecting to see. Just these singular gunfights that really wasn't indicative of their record right now. They've looked dominant, but in that last round, certainly not the case. And Talentless were taking advantage of every situation given to them. And, well, when you have to push into buckshot in the latter stages of a round, unfortunately, that's just not a likely situation that you're able to win, especially with so many members remaining from Talentless. Even if they were able to deal with that smoke playing there, what else were you going to be able to accomplish? Because everyone's guns would have had to turn by then.
Yeah, it's something that smoke is just the longer the round goes on, each second that ticks by, the more valuable the operator becomes. But no smoke for this site. Instead, it's actually going to be a Mira and a castle on a CCTV site. I would expect a Rooney for this site, but Bree and Castle, I want to see how Midlight's going to bring that one out, because usually you want to bring some gunpowder along with window denial, but instead they're just going straight on, super shorty, bulletproof camera, and complete soft destruction at this point.
Yeah, this whole strategy behind this is just what the hell are you going to do? And well, Cass has a perfect answer. It was unlike her to die as an entry in that early round. Well, they're going to answer right back. That castle, unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to make so much more impact. Midlight falling very early, within the first 30 seconds even. But the structure of this round has been so just weird. And I have to say that for both of the rounds that we played so far. Ali was trading shots onto J Night Owl. She knew where her positioning was, but unfortunately just not able to land anything. And J Night Owl could live to fight another fight. They want to aggress onto her, but she seems intent on just escaping. And they, notably as well, they haven't dealt with the mirror window in any sort of way.
Cass is very good at just being extremely aggressive very early on the round and catching defenders off guard. That is something that in the first round she's very close to getting, and now definitely helped them in this round, catching Midlight off guard. Now you, I believe, lost a barrier. You aren't going to really have anyone to protect them. At this point, it is wasted utility, but Wichita Wolves have a lot of utility that 2 castle barricades really... Why did that... That threw me off guard.
What threw you off?
Mozzie yelling threw me off my rhythm.
Well, I mean, Australians are, you know, they're pretty loud. Daniel Ricciardo from the F1, like he's pretty loud. So, you know, I can see why that would kind of throw you off your game, Light Rose.
He just yelled.
We have a job to do here. Oh man. May's gonna go down to Cass, and Cass, oh goodness, a whipping shot onto J Night Owl. Yes, she is one shot, but the damage, so much damage has already been done. Bree will be team killed from Bagel for some godforsaken reason. I'm not exactly sure what from, but Dawn, we've lauded her aim as well, and they want to get this execute going. Dawn with a double on the round. We know how nuts she can be on that mirror. Bagel able to even out the man count, though, actually establish a woman count in their lead. Bagel gonna try and get the diffuser down. Tiger has the coverage from outside. She's going to have to pick one of these gunfights. Is Dawn. She peeks out onto the construction, or outside of construction window at the perfect moment, but unfortunately, no one is there to answer back. 35 seconds remain for her to try and aggress onto the diffuser, but she has to win at least one of these gunfights in order to make this even remotely possible. But the crossfires are established, and well done, able to win one out onto the balcony, and she has to win this final fight up against Bagel. Unfortunately, just not able to click on the head. It was a tough one to win with how Bagel was positioned, but Wichita Wolves able to answer back.
Got a little bit scary. Dawn doing a great job at finding the 2 inside of CCTV. Just if they had one more member alive, there would have been a possible chance they would have won that one out. Yeah, you can see if Malicious found the shot onto Bagel, then the odds are that Talentless would have been able to win that one round out. But the repel diffuse play in that situation with that certain site, it's almost impossible to win as a defender because outside is bright, sun's scary, and it'll throw off your aim a lot. Now, Talentless going back to CCTV, actually going off of the mirror onto the cap can, sticking with the Project Eris motto of always go trap operators when things seem scary. And we'll see if that change is going to work out here.
Well, that will certainly quell some of the aggression that we saw in that last round, especially towards stock. But overall, that's, you know, the Capcan pick. Maybe you want to bring a Frost, someone else, but I do love the Trap Operator pick overall. We see a lot of wall denial as well with the Mute and Bandit both being brought into play, and obviously we can't see Cade, so I think Bandit is the next possible solution. And Bandit is someone that we've, you know, maybe if you talked to me like a couple of weeks ago when the season wasn't released, I would say Bandit was relatively useless, but now we've seen a resurgence in his play. Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's really hard to say. Mute did get a little bit of a change, you know, instead of kind of being that sphere, instead of being a cone, possibly it's a sphere. I don't know which way it went, but it's a lot harder to cover the entire wall. I believe it's impossible, actually, to cover the entire wall with only one Mute Jammer. So now teams are either forced to go Bandit, and if Kaid is banned, which he is, so now it's easier just to go Bandit and secure these walls instead of just putting 2 Mute Jammers on a wall that it just straight up gets destroyed by a lot of utility.
They're going to be able to deal with those bandit charges very quickly, and I'm expecting to see a wall breach come out very soon, but actually no one in particularly good position to try and get that going. You have Bree, who has the can opening charge, but where is Bagel in terms of this sort of take? I'm not exactly sure. I would have expected to see her on that CCTV balcony. Yeah, she is kind of just a little bit late to the party. I can see her kind of scurrying along, trying to get into position. Overall, Wichita, they've kind of showed their cards here, and it seems like, well, they're kind of centralizing their takeover to getting control of Garage, as well as capitalizing on the lounge control that they have. But overall, they haven't met anyone from Talentless just yet.
This round seems to be going relatively quickly as well. We're about a minute 30 left, and it feels like the attack from Wichita Wolves is going very, very swimmingly. They're got the wall open. They're droned out. They're clearing out all of these roamers. If Midlight gets taken down very, very quickly, which is they're getting very, very dangerous. And there we are, Lock Tiger, a really good pinch from Wichita Wolves. And now it's forcing the rest of the defenders to go out. Cass gonna get hit by an EDD. So there we go. We do see that it, it at least does something in terms of chipping down any one of these attackers.
Yeah, some of the game plan that I'm seeing from Talentless is just slow down the entry as much as possible. You see Ali and Cass, they're both kind of setting the pace for this team, with Bree, Bagel, and Tiger struggling just a little bit. It's really come down to these entries to kind of take the boon and be that sort of tone setter inside of these rounds. But with May lurking from below, well, unfortunately, the flank watch operator of Nomad won't be able to do that job anymore. Ali able to open things up with a frag onto J Knight, but Malicious will find that trade. Dawn has control of Cash, and it's a very good position to be holding, and she's been going off in this play day as of today. Unfortunately, well, Kaz, she's an MVP candidate for a reason. She will take off the head of Dawn in May. She's going to play for that Nitro Self from down below, and if she has the information necessary, that spells a lot of danger, but they're doing the exact best thing to do in this situation. They're going to plant on top of Green Box, and May's going to find herself in the post plant.
Yeah, the C4 is going to go out and perfectly arced onto Bree. A really good C4 from May there. Now it puts them in a 1v1 situation. They have time to adjust. Cass on 50 HP, so May does have the advantage when it comes down to this. Shots are going to be fired. No damage done to anybody as May goes through the rotate, and they find the shot on Cass, and you do not expect Cass to lose those so early into this diffuse time, as well as Talentless continues to stay neck and neck with Wichita, and we're halfway through the split.
Give me this version of Talentless every week, and they are on top of Eris. This has been absolutely insane for them so far, and they've been shutting down what we thought was just a very strong Wichita Wolves roster. And yes, Kaz is doing her usual magic, but overall, the supporting staff behind her, just unfortunately, it just hasn't been that good of a play day for them so far. As we reach the midpoint of the split, we're going to head down back to the church and Arsenal. And well, if Wichita Wolves don't get things going soon, yes, I know the attacking side tends to be a little bit more difficult, but if we look at the rounds previous, Talentless are doing an amazing job of dictating the sort of fights in their own favor. And, well, Wichita, they have a round win, but that's because, well, they were just better in those gunfights. Talentless are doing a masterclass, a clinic at just forcing time to be in their favor every step of the way.
I think this would be a massive upset if we did have Talentless win this one out, because it is just so unexpected that Wichita Wolves would lose against Talentless. That's not a slide on Talentless. It's just that Wichita Wolves have been looking so strong. We mentioned before that they just kind of seem to be on a hot streak, and Talentless seems to be on a cold streak. But if they can stop that with a performance like this against a team like this, then you mentioned that they can look like they can be on top of Eris, and they look like they can be the team that I see them in my heart. Come on, Talentless, be the best selves that you can be. That is the goal of competitive play, and why we play is just to be the best versions of ourselves. And if it can show up at a time when we least expect it, then, well, it makes for such a great esports moment.
You know, I thought Yeah, I thought the match that Talentless played earlier against Valkyries, with that not necessarily bouncing in their favor, I thought that maybe that would affect Talentless inside of this matchup, but it seems like Talentless, well, they've come in so prepared for this game. Wichita Wolves, they've really just been playing ring around the rosy against all of these talentless defenders, and they've had all of the momentum pretty much every round. They're going to try and get the dirt hallway open, but with May finding another entry kill onto Alley, with how strong these entries players are for Wichita, and maybe we've been seeing some lacking from everyone else. Oh man, this could potentially spell some danger, but Kaz is going to immediately make me eat my words. Tiger as well with an answer onto J Knight Owl, who's playing inside of Dirt. So Wichita can establish this dual pronged attack in mid light. Well, she's going to have to rotate to site real soon, but overall, great start for the side of Wichita.
Yeah, taking out both J Knight and May is very, very important because you lose both C4s on the board and you take out the Clutch Master and the fragging power of May as Midlight. Gonna stand still, Cass trying to get that Jiggle Peak to work out. She's gonna do a little bit of damage on over to Midlight and catch on the rotate. The Siege IQ, the big brain on Cass right there, was completely expected, and it shows why she's able to get these kills. It's not only her mechanical skill, but it's her ability to read her opponents, get inside their head, and just kind of get free kills like that. It puts them right now in a 2v4 situation, both Malicious and Dawn all together. Dawn has had a great situation, great couple of rounds, as you mentioned, but as Malicious gets taken down, Dawn is going to have to do more than amazing. She's able to take down one, able to take down two. That's cast off the board. It's just Bree and Bagel. Both have 3 kills combined if Dawn's able to win this one out. Yeah, we see you. We see you in the corner, Cast. You can't hide from the excuses at this point. Flash is going to go out. It's not going to flash Dawn fully, as the frag is just not going to be there. Dawn not looking in the right place at the right time. And what seemed like it could have been an amazing 4v1 sadly does not come to fruition.
Man, just a good initial play from Wichita overall, and you forced Dawn into this tough position. Yes, she pulled off a little bit of magic to put it down to a 1v2, but at the end of the day, we know who won that round, regardless of whether or not Dawn was able to, clutch that out. Obviously, she wasn't, but Wichita had that round ever since they, found those early picks with Ali falling early, and then Kaz, she tried to pull her magic once again, but you saw it in the all chat. Maybe she's having some mouse issues, which, well, if you're 6-3 with some mouse issues, I still need whatever you're drinking because that's still an insane stat line to be putting up. But overall, I mean, again, this game, the pacing has been very interesting, is what I would call it, because Talentless have forced most of the rounds their way, but Wichita have been playing off some just very good fragging power, and yeah, they've been able to pull out the rounds that they've sort of given up these entries.
Definitely entry we looked at beforehand. It was the Midlight versus Cass.
Yeah,
and Cass kind of decimated in terms of entries, 7-2. And Cass hasn't lost these entries, but Wichita has kind of been even in terms of the opening death and the opening kill. It's been a little bit of a back and forth of who's going to be either too aggressive or not aggressive enough, or just kind of win that opening engagement. So Cass, we've obviously saw that they have just been rushing forward, trying to catch Talentless with their pants down. I don't think that's going to happen because of where just the gym bedroom site is located, how everybody's still setting up on the very secluded site in the middle of the map. And Wichita Wolves, they're still trying to circle the boat at this point.
They haven't dedicated too much manpower over to the CCTV side either, with J Knight Owl kind of just playing to catch somebody lurking and maybe not checking their corners. Dawn, we saw how good she's been playing. Unfortunately, she will be neutralized off of a very well-placed frag grenade. I think she was just sitting in that corner. I'm not 100% sure where Cass was able to fit in that fragmentation grenade, but, well, she's looking like Tom Brady, isn't she, with those throws? Now, looking back on over towards CCTV, We see Ali and another player from Wichita pinching down onto the member playing inside, but they have some ADS to deal with. May will eventually be full flashed, but they can just, they can escape into construction, and that's exactly what she's going to do. Overall, some very disciplined siege being brought out from Talentless so far.
They need to find a way to even this one up. They need to catch somebody off guard, but that's really hard because almost nobody's off site. It's only J Knight out. And they're kind of far away from the rest of the members. The closest that they are 2 members is Cass. Just gonna slip away from them. The pings were there, but they're not able to get quick enough up the stairs. They might catch somebody on the rotate here through hot tub wall, but the angle is really what might get them the kill here. May's gonna go into the crosshair. Cass gonna fire 1, 2, and it's gonna go straight into the head of May. The camera is gonna spot them, and then Cass is eventually gonna get taken down. Somebody is going to need to step up here. 9 kills in terms of Cass. G-Knight Owl doesn't find the kill. Might they get a second shot? No, they're gonna have to hide. They're going to find not one just yet as they're still alive, but eventually it's going to be Locked Tiger who finds them in the head. It's Malicious and Midlight who have to find some way to still keep the lead and keep Wichita Wolves from their first lead of the map.
You see the swings coming, right? Midlight just trying to escape through the bathroom, trying to find any sort of safety. Nitro cells are going to ring true, but eventually Malicious will be felled. Midlight has tried to escape towards the 90 hallway, but Bree with a perfectly timed pinch coming in through Logi. It's a very dangerous position to play if you're trying to play inside of 90 because, well, those Logi walls tend to be soft. That is just, that's just very fundamental siege play, and you know exactly what is safe and what isn't. You knew that, well, Midlight had to rotate out from bathroom and she only had one place she could go. So very smart siege IQ that is being demonstrated from Wichita, and they've taken their first lead of the game.
It's crazy how through that round, I literally noticed only when Cass died how crazy Cass's kill count was to the rest of the team. Cass is almost on 10 kills, double digits. And at the time of Cass's death, nobody on Wichita had more than 3 kills.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Now the only person to have above 3 kills is Ali Princess. And that to me is not Cass putting Wichita Wolves on their back. It is just that her individual skill is just so impressive. Wichita Wolves are obviously able to perform even with the absence of Cass through the round as shown by last round, but she is just a level above the rest at this point.
Yeah, like I said, Kaz, Project Eris MVP, kind of going hand in hand right now. She's sitting at 9-5. She's been absolutely disgusting, and part of it is the fact that, well, I mean, even with mouse issues, if you have a frog hat, you can overcome pretty much any challenge that comes your way. But Wichita, they still want to try and win out the split. It wouldn't be a very good look on them if they were to go 3-3 and Talentless. Well, they'd be in a good position to try and take some more rounds off, and obviously we have the overtime point system as well. So if they're just trading rounds back and forth, I mean, Wichita want to escape this with 3 points and really just keep pushing towards the Goo Goo Dolls and the girl bosses of the league. Unfortunately, if they only escape with 2 or 1 point in this game, that's not necessarily going to get that job done. Now, they have dealt with one of the bandit charges, not on the ideal side though, and Bree, I think she's kind of Bagel is just kind of waiting to maybe see if they can try and take out the other bandit charge before eventually putting that thermite charge down. But Talentless, they've looked so good today.
The toes were in sight, but not even able to find a single digit of damage onto anybody. Midlight just was not able to find the angle, was not able to just quick enough really pull the trigger in time, but it's still all 5 members of Talentless alive, and the roamers that are in play is absolutely crazy. You see Midlight in construction. You see on the first floor is Malicious. Now you saw, I believe there was another player as well who was offside, as it's only J Knight and the rest who are just hanging out as well.
Midlight doesn't seem intent on giving up all of that construction control. She will try to escape with her life, though, and forfeit that sort of ground and try to train some guns to it. Kaz dry peeking into construction. This is a dangerous position for most players, but we've seen how insane she can be mechanically. Breed taking some damage and will eventually be felled by Midlight with a headshot. And Kaz, she's going to have to work some of that magic with her frag grenades once again, but it's getting eaten up by Jaeger ADSs, and Talentless are in perfect position to get this round going. Bagel sitting on that balcony, though, could potentially make a gigantic difference. Midlight, they haven't been putting any pressure onto the garage, and Midlight almost punishes them for that, but unfortunately not all of the shots will land true. And Kaz, Ali continuing to put the burners on, and Don will eventually fall as well. Oh, everything is going absolutely terribly for the side of Talentless, and Malicious on the 90 Rafter corner. That's well, you have way too many angles to watch in that position. Bagel able to take her down, and despite the strong start that Talentless put up, Wichita Wolves find themselves up 4-2.
It seemed like it could go on the side of Talentless. We saw Midlight had the opportunity to claim the kills, but they just didn't even find the one. And now Wichita Wolves go up 4-2. Now they're on the defensive side. It is starting to slip away. One round really could be the point where it's too far for Talentless to really grab it back, because a 3-round lead is kind of the point where it feels pointless. It feels like it's completely out of reach, and you have to do so much to come back at this point. And Talentless have already done a lot. In their early game, they seem to really be on par with Wichita Wolves. And here's the thing, though. Their attacking side has to be as flawless as those early round defenses, or else they're just going to get absolutely stomped. And it's a very, very thin line right there.
Potentially, V, could we be seeing fatigue start to set itself in? I know that Talentless had to play a reschedule earlier on this night, and that could potentially be playing a chance in this matchup. They showed so much spunk. They showed very warmed up in those first, I think it was 4 rounds before eventually Wichita Wolves were able to put 2 in a row. So I have to think maybe the fatigue is starting to play a little of a factor here, because Towns haven't shown the same degree of explosive plays that they showed in every other round. Yes, we're seeing some strong play from people like Don, May, but overall, I think Talentless might be running out of gas.
There we go. Black Tiger, it's the wrong wall, and they're very, very close to Bandit tricking that, but Midlight's just going to get that open, almost free of charge. Now they still have an extra exothermic, an extra calinate as well, so things going very, very early good right here for Talentless as they open up that western garage side so they can catch somebody on the rotate if possible. But now how is Talentless going to engage? How are they going to use the opportunities that have been given to themselves by Wichita Wolves?
Ali just kind of waiting towards that rat corner, but they haven't even established any wall control inside of garage as of just yet. Now, Kaz, we see how much she has an affinity towards those 1.5 scopes as well as those reflexes, but you're going to take that extra zoom as they present themselves in that MP5K. Although not the best gun in Siege, it definitely does lend a hand in terms of fragging power, and Midlight unfortunately tries to push into the garage door, but to cut her down, she's going to stay rafters for as long as possible and let the rest of Wichita really do a bunch of work. We see Bree picking up a kill with the SMG-11 as well, but really the main point of contention is going to be on these rafters, and Ali, she's just trying to stay safe as much as possible, trying to switch up the angles, and that will result in a kill. J Night Owl going down as well, and yep, Talentless, just they might be exhausted. I'm not exactly sure 100% what's going down, but Ali, unfortunately not aware of the 90 angle, will eventually be felled by the Cali. But Kaz, we've lauded her positioning all night, and she was in perfect position to get that refrag there. It's all down to Dawn, and 1v4 with 40 seconds left. You don't have diffuser control. This one might be chalked.
And I think now it's I don't want to say that game over, because obviously Wichita Wolves still have to win 2 rounds after this. But the way that these rounds have been going, the storylines inside of them, it seems almost unwinnable for Talentless. Something major possibly have to change, or Wichita Wolves are going to have to feed out of their minds, because the way that both of these teams are playing, Talentless are setting themselves up with the way that they're, opening walls, using these default strategies. But when time comes to take these engagements, take these 50-50s, they're not successful. They're called 50-50s, but at this point it feels like 90-10s in the favor of Wichita Wolves, because of how often Wichita Wolves are winning these.
It's been very crucial and we saw it especially in that defense. It's very crucial if you are a defender inside of Rainbow Six to try and force gunfights in your own favor. Try to move the pacing around in the micro game and force Talentless or force the attacking side into uncomfortable positions, and that's exactly what we've seen. Talentless were assuming safety when they tried to push into Garage, but Ali was just lurking up there, and then she was doing a very good job of staying safe up there as well, and she forced a second kill to go down. So overall, I think Wichita, they've done a very good job at just forcing gunfights into what they want them to be. And unfortunately for Talentless, they haven't really utilized the drones. They haven't utilized too many of the flashbangs or anything like that to try and really change that up. And I think that has been the difference maker, especially in that first round. So I'm looking for Talentless to use that utility to their advantage, because you're given it. You might as well put it to good use.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Definitely, but Wichita Wolves almost on match point. This basement side, it hasn't been the best on attacking side for Wichita Wolves, but Talentless haven't really had their ability to try their hand at it. So who knows? This could be Talentless's time to absolutely shine. They've got Fuse in hand, the big burly Russian himself, who now can shoot hockey pucks through reinforced hatches, through reinforced walls, anything of the sort, and that is where he's really going to come into play. But I don't know if they're trying to make a painting, if Ali's trying to make a painting or trying to make some punch holes.
She just really doesn't like that carpet.
I mean, it doesn't look great. I have to say
it is like very old world. It is like, yeah, like I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of like modernism in terms of interior design, and that rug upstairs certainly isn't it. But they are able to accomplish some very constructive reconstruction, I might say, for Talentless, as they're able to get I think that was the bar hatch open from the side of May. So some good support play being brought out here so far. But again, we need to see everyone else waking up and rallying around the control that they are able to take, because Wichita have given up a good amount of control for free. Dawn with the mistiming there will miss the easy kill onto Ali, and that's just very unfortunate for her. Dawn, well, she had some magical defensive rounds, but unfortunately not much has shown outside of that. Now, it wasn't the bar hatch that they were able to get open. I think it was stock, as I correct myself and further prove to the Rainbow Six Siege community that I am blind. But overall, Talentless, right now, there isn't a lot to say about their take.
Yeah, it's very, very slow at this point. They haven't had much success, and definitely not in terms of finding the roamers, as Midlight doesn't even see Ali at this point. But you know who is? That is going to be that May up on the top floor. It is going to be a 4v4, so they are going to be able to take care of the roamers, but is it going to be quick enough? They have 45 seconds to clear out any space that they need to really engage here. We are going to see Dawn walk on in, go straight into Church, and try to find any opening frag that they can find. Going to do a lot of damage to Bree, but if Bree can find a Thunderbird heal station, then they are going to be definitely successful. There is going to be a drop, as Cap's going to find one, possibly. Is the second one going to be there? Yep, the pistol. Going to do the job. Can we get a third? And the third is not in the books. Eventually, May is going to find that one out, but they are eventually going to drop to the floor. Malicious, the only one left to stop Wichita from going on to match point, but his 3 members are still alive. A shotgun train straight at the door. It's that Talentless actually started out the match with a win. They're actually not going to find the kill there. I have no clue how that shot did not kill, but in the end, it is going to be Wichita Wolves, shotgun or not, winning the round.
even the in-game kill cam was kind of confused at that one. I think it focused on the
no
Thunderbird.
how that shotgun shot did not kill.
That should have absolutely decimated the ace there. It's one of the more interesting things. We love you, Rainbow Six. To quote my favorite pro player, Skies, the shotgun, the buckshot shotgun that you see the SAS operators bringing, it only works as much as you have trust in it. And maybe Bagel just didn't trust in the shotgun there. I don't know. But nonetheless, Wichita Wolves, they're in the driver's seat. They're about to, park the car and just say, we're gonna put the brakes on this matchup here. They're up 6-2, and frankly, Talentless just haven't had an answer in these last few rounds. But this is the bomb site to do it. This is the tertiary bomb site in the gym and bedroom, and this can be a difficult hold for some teams. It really depends on how much control you can hold inside of Logi and CCTV, but overall, I have to think with the amount of momentum that they have, Wichita kind of have this in the bag. I don't want to write off Talentless just yet, though.
I definitely don't want to write them off at this point, because I know that even from what we saw in those first 2 rounds, that they are a team that can contend, but I think Fatigue definitely could have a chance to do with this, because going up against Valkyries and going down 7-1 as well, that hurts. And now you go up a very, very strong start to Wichita Wolves, but the longer the game has gone on, it feels like the less fight that Talentless really has put up. And now, as they're 1 round away from just unfortunately losing this map, do they have enough fight to battle back 4 or 5 rounds at this point?
It's been a gauntlet, that's for sure. And if Talentless are able to take this round away, the gauntlet is only going to continue. But they do seem to want to take into CCTV and try to force the control from there. They do have a couple members from Wichita kind of sitting in the back line, waiting for them to push on through. And I love the sort of pace that they're demonstrating inside of this round. It seems like they want to force Wichita to be a little bit uncomfortable in their positions. And, well, I think Ali is kind of feeling that as of right now. But she has a lot of protection. She can just sit inside of CCTV and really force things to happen. With Cass lurking from below too, she can just wait and give that call, but Cass actually spotted out, but will eventually win that fight onto May before eventually the refrag comes through. Wichita, well, your strongest player has been felled, but Ali has had such a good play day as well, and I don't think that's going to change. But this cash room defense, almost more integral than the gym and bedroom itself.
Right now, that Maestro Evil Eye is so very, very annoying. Its job is to give information, destroy some utility, and then just be an absolute nuisance. You can see Dawn trying to contend with it, eventually gets taken down by Ally Princess, who's still in cash, still on 50% HP, and has the Maestro Evil Eye, and has Bagel as well in construction to deal with. And Allie's just able to take out J9 Owl with almost no real trouble at all. Eventually, they are going to be befelled by Midlight, who's going to take a whole chunk of damage from the laser of Bree. But now these 2 members of Talentless still have to deal with 3 members left of Wichita, and now only the 1 member of Malicious somehow has to stop match point, or the series point, just the end of the map itself. And that is going to start with Loaded Tiger going down.
Bagel, all she has to do is swing with the shotgun, but we mentioned how semi-inconsistent it can be, but not inconsistent in that gunfight. Well, it wasn't much of a gunfight. She just peeked the wrong corner, and Bagel's going to take that every time. So, Wichita Wolves, they win the match 7-2. It was a very strong showing, but Talentless showed me something in the beginning. They showed so much potential, and I can't wait to see where they go. But unfortunately, Wichita just a little too strong today.
Yeah, I hate to see it for Talentless to really go out that way, because we both mentioned that at the beginning they seemed like a strong team. They felt like they could contend with Wichita Wolves, but then we kind of hit round 4. Round 5, round 6, and just slowly that confidence started to drain away, and then we were just met 7-2.
Yeah, just all of the momentum sort of left them, and it kind of all happened in round 5. yeah, once the Wichita Wolves train sort of got rolling, once they were able to start howling, so to speak, Talentless just really didn't have an answer. But if we see the Talentless from the first 4 rounds and like on a consistent basis, and I'll give them today because they were dealt a very tough hand. They had to play 2 games today, and it's very hard to prepare for 2 games all at once. But if they can show me what they showed me in the first 4 rounds of today's play day in today's game, they're going places, Lee. They're going places.
All of the goal is that they get somewhere soon because Project Eris only has a limited shelf life. It's only not in terms of the overall league. I meant in terms of this season. That this
You
season
mean I'm not coming back?
It only goes on for a certain amount of time, and you're gonna need to compete in that time, or else you're just gonna sadly go home with nothing in your pocket. But I think it's hard to believe we only got through this couple hours with like one tech problem at the beginning. Did we actually do that, Santos?
We did it, dude. We did it. My camera hasn't made me look like I'm in a mute jammer. Hopefully the audio came across okay. Santa didn't tell me anything, so overall I think it went well. And then Light Rose, you were absolutely amazing once we got your mic issues sort of sorted out.
We got rolling on.
You know what? We're on the steady decline. It's kind of like a roller coaster. We hit our peak where just I chalked it up and said, "Hey, my internet has defeated me today," and now we're here, Light Rose, and we're back better than ever.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep going on strong. But that actually is gonna be it for tonight. We're not gonna be going on strong for the rest of the night. No, we'll be going on strong the rest of Eris, but that is it for this week. We saw a lot of matches, a lot of very one-sided matches, but a lot of matches nonetheless. I believe collectively overall the losing teams did not even reach 7 rounds today. There were 2 7-1s, a 7-1. We had the most round wins of opponents, you and I. We had 4 opponent round wins, I believe. 4 or 5.
Did Jazz and Connor cast 2 straight 7-0s?
I believe so.
They might have.
It's rough. Sometimes that is just how the cards are dealt. But at least we got a couple rounds that seem to go back and forth. But yeah, that is going to be it for tonight, Santos.
Yeah, and well, I mean, there's so much more exciting Project Eris action happening, especially as the weeks kind of grown on, especially as these teams start to establish that chemistry amongst one another. The play days are only going to get better, and I think the score lines kind of didn't tell the full story because I was watching some of that Mirage game from earlier, and those rounds were a lot closer than the 7-0 scoreline would indicate, and I think that is the case in these games that we had together as well. So overall, so much more excitement to be had, but you're going to have to wait until next week for more Project Eris action. For me, I'm Santos, and for Light Rose right to my right, and for everyone behind the scenes, we'd like to say thank you so much for tuning in to Playday number 4. We will catch you all next week.